What's up, y'all? It's your boy Nikko and Mac.
What's up?
We came across an interesting conversation between Tony Gaskins and Hardly Initiated that we want to give our take on. The first point that they made was
Who's qualified to talk in a relationship space?
here's the clip.
What makes someone qualified to give you instruction on your relational life? Like, what really makes you qualified?
You know what? I know a lot of people, they ask the question, they're like, well, who is Tony Gaskins and why does he have this take? Why does he feel like this?
Yeah.
But it's like when you're in something and you're passionate about it and you're dedicated to it and you see the damage that is done, like I'm doing this every single day since 2007. So we're looking at how many years is that?
That's about, what is that, 16?
16 years.
Yeah.
And I have people hire me for coaching, which I'm not even supposed to be doing one-on-one coaching. And I really don't have the time for it, but I do it still trying to be accessible and to have these conversations. And people are telling me on the phone, Tony, I listen to you every day and I'm still doing the wrong thing. I'm still in fornication. I was abstinent, then I fornicated and I caught herpes. I was abstinent, I fornicated and I got pregnant. And I'm listening to you, and this guy, I met him online and I gave him $6,000 to get furniture for his new place. And we only been talking for 2 weeks. Tony, I'm talking to this guy. I met him online. I gave him 90% of my life savings.
We gotta get 10%
I'm like,
to God.
Oh, pause, man.
He only gave him 90% because he had to get 10% to God.
I don't know any influencers out there that's telling women to meet a man and give him 90% of your earnings. I don't know any influencers that's saying that. Most influencers, from what I know, they're training women, to teaching women how to take from men, not how to give to men.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you think of it? I mean, did he give the name? I don't know the name, but I can't think of any influencer that would teach women how to give to a man. You got the sprinkle lady. You even got a gay guy now that's telling
Give him
women
relationship advice. He giving
absolutely telling women what not to do for a man. If he come over your house, girl, don't let him. Don't give him no snacks. Don't let him Don't let him put his clothes in your washing. Like, I don't hear any relationship gurus or influencers that's telling women to meet a man and give him 90% of your earnings, or your savings. I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
and all of this is going on, and here I am living it and sharing insight. So imagine a man or a woman who is not living it. If my insight still is not enough to help somebody stay on the straight and narrow, imagine someone who's not living it and they're just throwing out stuff because they want to have a platform.
So what do you think about that? What do you think about people taking advantage of a space where you don't really have to live what you want to talk about? You can actually get out there and talk about it and actually become an authority on the topic or in the space without necessarily having the credentials of what you're talking about. What do you think about that? You think that's, you think he got a point?
No, I mean, where would you get the credentials from? I mean, if he's saying that you're married and, since I'm married, I have better advice on being married, I think that's to a certain extent. You could possibly be speaking from experience, but I wouldn't think that since I'm not married, then I don't know how to be with a woman, or I don't know how to work well with a woman, or I don't know how to respect a woman. No, so I do believe that there is a level that he's true to a certain level. He's telling the truth to a certain level, but nah, bro, I don't agree.
So what I would say is I don't think the platform has a qualification process to where whatever you talk about in a niche, you have to prove or you have to validate your credibility to be able to speak in it. I don't think the platform cares so long as you have something to say that is interesting to an audience, I think that you are justified to speak to it. But I think he's intertwining his religious beliefs or his spiritual principles with the ability to come on a platform that's not really filtered in a way to where you have to come from a religious belief or approach. You can come from under a rock and say what you feel, and if there's an audience that wants to hear it, then the platform will promote it. So I understand that it affects people's lives in a way if you come from a place to where you're not the person that's, you're speaking of, or you're promoting a way of life or a lifestyle or a behavior that you're not really practicing. I can understand how that can be hypocritical, but so long as you reserve the right as a viewer to allow the influence to make an impact on your decision making, I think it's okay for you to say whatever you want to say. You have freedom of speech. And if anybody's watching the video decide that they want to allow you to influence their decisions, I think that should be their responsibility. You know what I'm saying? And they should, they should bear the responsibility on that, not the person that's speaking. Because I think we can all use discernment now. Like, for example, if you go get some advice, financial advice, you're going to go to a financial advisor, right?
True.
But you still reserve the right to go to a guy who's not a financial advisor or certified or licensed and choose whether or not you want to follow his instructions. It's your choice.
Well,
it may work for you. It may not work for me, but it may work for you. I can't judge you because maybe you found something interesting in there or something useful out of the content.
Well, from that standpoint, bro, then I would agree with him, because I don't think I'll take it as he's speaking from a standpoint of helping the black community. Speaking from a standpoint of helping the black community, there's no governing party like we used to have back in the Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King days.
That's true.
And that's why you see a lot of people just doing whatever.
Right.
Everybody can choose what they want to do, and it's okay. I do feel like people should be able to choose what they want to do. But if you want to be able to help the black community, there has to be some unison. There has to be something there. So I wouldn't just say, I think he's speaking from a standpoint of, just because you can say it or you reserve the right to say it don't mean that you should. So if we're going to speak from what you say, bro, I'm going to have to agree with him. Right. That, and if we're speaking from that point, then I will have to say that I agree, because certain people, if you're trying to improve the black community, if you're trying to help the black community, then yes, some people should not be heard. Now, who is the deciding factors of who should not be heard? I think, I don't know, but I will say that there's a lot of craziness, and the fact that everybody has a platform and anybody can have a platform simply because they reserve the right to have a platform is the problem in my book.
Okay, well, I get it. I mean, I just understand that when you come to for example, if you come to a dirt fight and you say, hey, look, don't throw dirt. Everybody should be clean. And everybody who's throwing dirt are morons or they're not qualified to be here. Then it's like, okay, this place allows us to do this. Perhaps you should go to a platform where there's filters that says that everybody who's an influencer should prioritize the betterment of their community. Because I honestly believe there's content creators that go on YouTube and they do not make content for the betterment of the community. They do it for their own personal gain, or they just do it for people in general who find interest in the same thing that they find interesting. And they may not necessarily attach themselves to a community. A lot of people who make content feel like for example, me, I love my family, you know what I'm saying? I love where I came from, you know what I'm saying? But I don't see a community. So if I come from an angle with my content, it's not going to be in a direction of pushing a narrative or pushing a principle or pushing a way or a standard based on the community. Because I don't believe that we have a mutual agreement between Black people specifically, our people, for me to say, hey, look, I want our community to be better. And every day I walk outside and everybody in the community is going their own separate ways. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, what principle do you go to? And I think in his case, it's a religious community, not more so a black community. It's more like a Christian or spiritual standard from the book, saying, hey, look, if you're not coming from the book, don't come at all. And for you to push that on other creators suggests that you know that their beliefs are from the same spectrum of belief that you got. You get what I'm saying?
So you're saying he's more of an extreme. He's got more of an extreme view.
I think what a lot of content creators do today is they pick a side and they hammer down hard on it, so they don't teeter the fence, so they can have trust and consistency within their audience, and that allows them to be, their content to be more anticipatable, and whenever they come to this creator, they know what they're gonna get. So, they can't go wrong. And I think whenever you're dealing with content or you talking to people, you kind of want to pick a side and you want to stand on it. But you got to understand there's other creators out here that's not necessarily going to pick your side. They may pick a side. They might not be the side you pick. And then we still got to see that there is an audience for the side that they pick. So how can we say, hey, look, you should only pick my side, and abandon everybody who's coming to the platform for the side that you initially are making content on? So I'm like, hey, look, I get it. I know a lot of, I've been to schools, I went to the military, I've traveled the world, and I've associated myself with people who don't believe in the same things I believe in. And I'm never going to say that, hey, look, you shouldn't be doing this or you shouldn't do that. That's your thing. Now, if you want to know what I do and the way I do it, and if you want to learn the way I do it, then yes, come to me and I'll tell you my way, and maybe I can show you how to replicate that.
Like, if you're a relationship coach, you're not showing your wife, is that an issue?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. If a man does not show his wife and he giving relationship advice, he's a fraud. If a man is married and he's not giving relationship advice and he doesn't show his wife, he's a fraud.
Damn.
If a man does not wear a ring and he's married, he's a fraud. There should be nothing hidden or secret about marriage. And as we've said, and we've seen it online, there's a difference between secrecy and privacy.
Right.
I see so many married men today who don't wear rings. Oh, my finger too big. They make rings on all sides. They make rings on all sides.
That's crazy.
My finger too big.
Now the thing.
So what you think, man?
His first point, if a man doesn't show his wife, he's a fraud. Number one, show his wife where? Is he saying show his wife in the public, show his wife on social media? Is he saying,
he's saying, if you're gonna be a relationship coach, we need to know you have a wife.
Okay.
We need to know who she is, what she look like. We need to know what her breast size is. We need to see that ass, bro. We need to know if she a baddie. Because a lot of these relationship coaches be saying, hey, look, man, you shouldn't talk to her. She wearing weave, she should be all natural. I need to see if your wife all natural. I need to see if your wife.
So basically what you're saying is you need to see is he living what he's preaching, practicing.
Man, look, I don't know what the man said. Basically what he's saying is, if you ain't even a relationship coach, if you married, period. If you married, period, regardless if you coaching or not. If you hanging drywall on YouTube and you married, your wife need to be seen, or you're a fraudulent drywall hanger.
Well, then I'm gonna have to disagree. Everybody doesn't want their relationship, even marriage, on social media. We are. I'm sure that we have had experience. I'm sure you have had experiences. I have as well, where social media makes your relationship tougher. Or, just the fact that people have access to your personal life, know your wife. This is the age of information. If someone knows your wife or know your full name, your phone number, they can find out your address. So I agree that if you're giving advice, you probably should have some type of experience with that type of advice.
Exactly.
that way that you can give experience and you should be speaking it from an unbiased source.
You could paint a picture of what what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Replicating. Hey, look, this is my wife. You know what I'm saying? I told you to do these things, that thing. This is how you treat a woman. This is how you do that. This is how you get a woman to love you. Look, there's my wife right here. Tell them, babe. Ain't this what we talk about all the time? Like shit like that.
But I hear you, but I still would not want my wife. I mean, I'm skeptical about putting my relationships on social media.
But Tony Gaskins says you're a fraud if you don't do that.
Well, then I'm going to have to be a fraud because I don't have to follow Tony Gaskins' experiences based on his life experiences, his advice based on his life experiences. I think that's, you have to, I go with you, with your first point. I go with how you need to allow people to do what's best for their relationship. Not everybody is okay sharing their relationships and personal relationships, wife, husband, or whatever, on social media. I would say it depends on the level of advice that they're giving. I mean, if it's,
or the nature of content they're making.
Absolutely. If you're speaking like sprinkle, then you probably should show that you actually have a husband and not a side chick.
Hey.
And because his message is watered down, it's so comfortable, he getting on the podcast like Heaux with like 50 million listeners. And now here this white man goes to the black space, plucks a black relationship coach from the black space who is not married. So now this becomes the representation of black relationships to this white audience, which says black men can't even live what they preaching.
Wow.
How was that?
Because when
How you feel about that, bro?
Oh, shit. That's a strong ass point, bro. I mean, to my white brothers and sisters, do y'all feel like that? Ooh, that's tough. I don't know if I can argue with Tony on that one.
I mean, representation matters. So,
Well, how much does that go? How much does that go to the person who picked them?
But we shouldn't allow another race to determine which individuals of our race gets to speak for our race. So,
Holy
it's not.
Hold on. So is he speaking for a race?
Well, he just said. Tony Gaskins said.
You might have found a hole in his shit then, because I don't know if Stephan. I have to look at how he titled his videos. Do he only speak for our race, or does he speak for all people? Because you got a strong point if he's out here saying, hey, look, this is for my black sisters and brothers. This is how we should move. And then the white man come and pick him to speak to 50 million people, and he's speaking on behalf of the black race. You have a strong point. Then we should, as a black people, vet him and say, hey, look, you need to check with us before you go trying to speak for us, because we don't approve. You in violation, bro. But I do not believe that Stephan Speaks is speaking for the black race.
Well, what's his message? I mean, what type of?
I mean, he's a relationship coach, relationship expert. I think on his page is expert. He's giving advice on the level as an expert relationship coach, and he's got millions of subscribers. And obviously, he's doing something right to have that many subscribers and those many views on these videos.
I don't think that you can be. How many pastors you see preaching BS, preaching stuff that is not right, and they have a huge following. A lot of the mega churches have the same problem. So just because you got a big following doesn't mean that you actually doing something right. You could be entertaining, right?
Right.
And that's what brings followers to your page.
And I think Tony is in this video is going further to say that you should not let nobody label you as a dating expert or a relationship expert if you're not painting the picture of a perfect relationship, or not so much perfect, a man who's married? You want to hear what he say about it?
Yeah, let me hear it.
I got a booking that came in from South Africa, and it's not official yet, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but they said we Googled relationship expert in America. They say we seen you, Stephan Speaks, and a white couple. They said we have a black audience, so we can't blame the white couple. We looked at Stephan, we looked everywhere in the world, we could find no spouse. So you the real deal. We found you. Will you do this event? And that's what I'm saying. It's like the hypocrisy. Talk about loving yourself as a single person. Talk about self-love. Talk about healing. Don't allow anybody to label you as a relationship expert, because you are a single expert. You're a single life expert. It's a difference.
Ooh, Tony.
So
Tony with the pop pop.
So basically, I agree with the whole expert. Whenever you put labels, you probably want to have the ability to display what the label means. I get it. I get that. But basically, since I'm single, that means that I don't have good advice when it comes to a relationship. And since you're married, which 70%, was it 80% of marriages, all divorces nowadays are initiated by women.
Lord,
and if they're college educated, it goes up to 90%. So basically, since you're married, and a lot of these marriages don't work nowadays, but since you're married, that means that you automatically have better advice than. I don't think that automatically means that. Me as a single man, that doesn't mean I haven't dated people. That don't mean that I haven't learned valuable lessons in who I've dated, and have some good advice to have a successful relationship. All marriages aren't successful, and just because you're married don't mean that you have a story to tell that people should listen to.
You're right, man. And I kind of got a fear, and the way he's saying that, man, kind of like bleeds over into other things. Like, if I can't give my expert, or if I can't call myself an expert, or I can't even utter any words about relationship advice on a couple's level, I got to stay on how to be single. How can I talk to my kids then? Do I got to go get a relationship? Do I got to go get a man that has a wife to go talk to my daughter about how to be in a relationship? Like, what's the limit? Or I can't come to YouTube and do it to make money or whatever.
Well, I guess he's saying you shouldn't influence people outside of your household, which...
Well, he didn't say that, but, I think, and that's where it's kind of like, okay, he's hammering down hard, but he's being like disingenuous to a lot of people who may have been married for 20 years and been widowed.
True.
You get what I'm saying? So like, oh, I'm single now. I can't give. I mean, this is petty what I'm saying right now, and it's maybe extreme, but still, you leaving out, like, you really gotta. We living in a day where people like really think layers deep, and you really gotta be like considerate of the grand scale of things. Like, okay, look, you single, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm single, bro, and if I go study psychology or some shit that really, focuses in on relationship compatibility between two people, and I've been doing it for years and years, and I have a track record of getting people to the altar and having successful relationships, I don't see anything wrong with calling myself a dating expert, just because I might not necessarily be ready to date or be in a marriage.
What would qualify as an expert? Who would be able to place that on their name or next to their name as quote unquote relationship guru, relationship expert?
Well, according to Tony, he says that you have to be in a committed relationship to be an expert. So, for example, if you've been dating or you've been in a committed relationship or married for 10 years and you get out of it, and I've never been in a relationship before, and I've been in a relationship for maybe a week, I'm now the expert. You're not. Even though you had 10 years of experience in a relationship, you're disqualified. I'm qualified after a week in a committed relationship. I don't know. It's petty, Well, hell, why not be petty? Call me Mr. Petty.
I think that's an extreme way of looking at it.
It is. I know.
The other reason why I don't like speaking names is because I come from a culture, and so do y'all, that we will kill about our name. And I don't know if I won't kill about mine. And so me not knowing that, and me seeing Martin Luther King got killed, Malcolm X got killed, all these rappers getting killed for saying somebody's name. So I try to be mindful of that because I never know the state. I don't really fully know what a narcissist is, but I feel like if I had to assume what it would be like a Derrick Jaxn.
Oh, he gonna name a
Because
name
you gotta
after all
be
that.
really, really sick to attack everybody who cheats on their wife or does anything wrong, and you're doing the same thing. That is absolutely crazy to me. I could not imagine cheating on my wife and touching on anything with relationships. And then with Stephan Speaks, I feel like
2 names.
he looked up and he saw
dropping.
it was an opportunity to make money as a black man. And I feel like he had experience with some women, and he probably started out pure, and then the money and the fame came, and it becomes a drug. If you're not used to being him, like if you're not used to
Tony smoking
being
him.
in the newspaper for your athletic or whatever, or your gifts, your talents, when you get fame and notoriety, it'll throw you off. I've been in the newspaper since I was in 8th grade for basketball and then football. I was number 1 in my county in rushing. So I got used to being in the papers every day. I got used to leading the league in rushing, leading the basketball league in scoring. And so I didn't want attention. I still don't want attention. So when I see somebody and I could tell he's not used to attention, and then he gets attention, it becomes a drug. And when I was talking about doing the events, Ace Metaphor is one of the people doing the events. And what he is doing, he needs to retire it.
Oh,
Because it is so detrimental, it is so toxic, it is so horrible, to where if you're not gonna take R.C. Blake's or me or somebody on every stop, then you need to shut up. Because otherwise you got people who have no real care about this industry, no real commitment to this industry, just talking. And then it's coming from places.
I don't even like Ace Metaphor's approach. I feel like he's just a spawn of Derrick Jaxn, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I don't feel like that he should retire his platform based on what Tony just said. I mean, I don't feel like just because I don't like him that he should retire his platform. I think if anybody should have retired their platform, it was Derrick Jaxn. I think Ace actually allows people onto his platform that don't necessarily agree with his approach or with his opinion on relationships. And I think that's what Tony said earlier. You have to hear both sides. So if we were just hearing Tony's side, then I don't think that's going to get very many people. I don't think it's going to get anybody anywhere. But hearing Ace Metaphor's side, and then I don't know the other name of the girl one of the girls that I follow, but hearing other people who oppose that side, his side, I think that allows for great conversation, and it allows for people to actually learn and grow. But yeah, I don't like how he came for Ace. Even though I don't like the guy, I respect him. I don't like his approach. I mean, I don't know him not to like him, but I don't like his approach, but I don't like him saying that he needs to retire his platform just because. I mean, he's saying that he needs to retire his platform because it's toxic to, I guess, the community.
well, look, I can tell you one thing, man. I played in a lot of sports, and I still play in sports today. And I may have teammates that has a playing style or have tendencies that can hurt our ability to win games. And it affects the crowd, it affects the fans, the same fans that I got to affect. So what I tend to do is I go to my teammates and I say, hey, look, let me help you with that move. Let me help you with that defense. You know what I'm saying? The movement. You know what I'm saying? Your agility and all that stuff. Let's work out together. So our fans, can get satisfaction they need for when they come to the games. What I'm trying to say is, if Tony feels like, hey, look, you're coming into a space that I hold dear. You know, I love my people, and I want to see them influenced in the way that I think is righteous. Why not reach out to the content creators that you disagree with and say, hey, look, bro, I don't like what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I think you're messing up our people. I think you're doing more damage than good. Can we have a conversation and maybe I can show you some pointers that may be to help you and put our people in the right position, and people that we're trying to influence in the right space, than to say, hey, look, you should go retire.
I mean,
when has he reached down and said, hey, look, bro, man, I like what you're doing. You got a lot of influence. Way to go. But I think you're going about it the wrong way. I think that's the conversation that needs to take place.
that is a way of doing it, but I mean, the other side would have to be receptive to that offer. I mean, it's just because he offered, it doesn't mean that the other side is going to be acceptable to that. Is going to accept his offer. Oh yeah, sure, come in and let me allow you to influence how I feel. I don't think a lot of people are going to accept that approach. I mean, I respect your opinion, but I don't. I think that's a way to do it. But what if that approach is not accepted?
And that's whenever you pull out the sniper and start telling these niggas they need to retire.
Oh, we're gonna see how well that works.
But at least gave them an opportunity to where they can't say, hey, bro, why you ain't come to me? Why you ain't just hit my line? Why you ain't just shoot me a DM? Why you ain't just shoot me an email? You get what I'm saying? If I take these precautions, if I take these steps as a man to man, to say, hey, look, man, I think you need to pull it back a little bit. I need you to take a different angle, bro. Because what you're doing is you hurting our people, and these people's lives are being impacted. They're going to have children that's inevitably going to be impacted by their decisions that you're influencing them to make. So I need you to cut it out, or I need you to just come talk to me, bro. Just come talk to me, and I might be able to help you. I don't know if they're going to be receptive. You're right. A lot of people ain't really, like, if they money going and they got money, they going, you know what I'm saying? They not trying to hear it. They just not. But at least you gave them a chance, bro. And I think they will respect you even more when you say something about them, because then you got a conversation. Like, I reached out to dude, I tried to tell him, and he ain't listen. So I'm just, bow. Get your ass off the platform with that shit. Bow.
But see, for me, I don't do what I do for money. So Ace will tell you, he reached out to me years ago and he said, hey, I want to do a tour. It's going to be me, you, Stephan, and Derrick.
Derrick Jaxn.
I remember he told us about that tour.
I told him no.
To you.
Wow. Yeah, I told him no. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. He offered me $1,000. The first event was in New York. I had just did New York, and I sold it out by myself, 400 plus people. And the ticket sales probably came to $12,000. So it's like, if you're doing business, then you have to honor business. So for one, I'm not going to do that for $1,000 when I just did my own and it $12,000 in tickets. So that's for one. Two, the guys that you're doing it with, none of y'all married. At that time, I don't even think Derrick was married. So I'm like, why would I do a relationship tour with single guys giving relationship advice? And you're speaking from your brokenness, you're speaking from your pain, because you're not speaking from where you've healed and where you've won, where you've succeeded. Like, get a wife, be happy with her, let her be happy with you, then come get a playbook. I don't want such and such playbook. I want Michael Jordan playbook if I'm playing basketball. I want the winning playbook. And so that's where it looked like a money grab. And they went around and the tour was successful. But I don't do stuff for money. I do it out of purpose. Just like when you go to my channel, and I don't respect, I don't not respect.
How you feel about that?
I mean, the dude, Tony the sniper, dude is right, bro. You align yourself with people that compliment what you do and what you believe in. And I think that's how you become successful in life. And you try to be consistent with that. The moment you associate yourself with people that aren't aligned with your path or the direction you want to go with, and it kind of can cause you to be what is it called whenever you are misrepresented. So like you wouldn't see Michael Max hanging with a bunch of drug dealers unless he's trying to get them off drugs, but you wouldn't see him taking pictures like he might be racketeering or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get what Tony's saying, and I agree with him. Like, but Lord have mercy. They tried to scam Tony, didn't he?
12,000 is a long way from 1,000.
1,000.
I wonder how much Ace actually made on that tour.
Shh, that's a good question.
Derrick Jaxn was making a lot of money off of his books.
Hey, if you watching this, put in the comments if y'all know how much they made off of that tour between Ace, Derrick Jaxn, and Stephan Speaks, I believe. They knew it was in New York.
Inquiring minds would love to know.
Yeah, I would like to know. All right, so this video is 4 hours long. We probably got to maybe an hour. Some of the clips that we felt interested enough to talk about. Let us know in the comments. Please let us know in the comments if y'all think that we should do more reactions from some of the points that were made by Tony Gaskins and highly initiated in this live stream that took place. If y'all want us to do it, we'll continue to do it. Otherwise, we're going to move on to a different subject. But y'all got to let us know in the comments.